Hello fellow YouTubers, this is Utah Moses here to give you my DVD review for the film The Fucking Will Be Blood. So the story follows a man, a charismatic yet ruthless oil prospector who tries to take advantage of the land of California, which by that time in the late 19th or early 20th century is just a wasteland. And so he's going to try and struck oil under it, and he tries to achieve this goal through his fuel of hatred towards other people and destroying the competitors that try to take over that land. So, this film is a masterpiece. I mean, it isn't just about oil prospecting, but more about digging into the layers of an evil man who does whatever he can to get what he wants in his power. And Daniel Day-Lewis, I always consider him to be a great actor. My favorite of all time, as a matter of fact. I mean, he always acts his ass off in every role that he plays and does an outstanding job in them. Even with the weakest material, he's always able to make it work for him.
Daniel Day-Lewis is the humping robot.
From the moment I was engineered, I knew I was a different kind of robot. I don't care if I rust! I just want love!
So Day-Lewis plays Daniel Plainview, an oil prospector who would do anything without a limit to become rich through his oil business, even if it means laying waste in his path. Now, another actor that I thought was standoutish from all the others, or out of the three, was Paul Dano as Eli Sunday, the up-and-coming prophet or priest, and some of you best know him as the mute emo son from Little Miss Sunshine. And I thought this was Dano's best performance in There Will Be Blood because his performance had a subtle attitude which would explode in an energetic yet manipulative way through his belief of religion.
Get out of here. Don't you dare turn around and come back. For if you do, all the armies of my boot will kick you in the teeth. And you will be cast up and thrown in the dirt and thrust back to perdition. And as long as I have teeth, I will bite you. And if I have no teeth, I will gum you. And as long as I have fish, I will bash you. Now get out of here!
And I liked the young actor who played H.W. Plainview's son in the film, who I believe his name is Dylan Frazier, I think you say his name like. Anyways, he's portrayed as the only good soul in the film, that you believe that there's a chance for him for a decent enough life for himself, even though he becomes deaf at some point and he finds out that his father has been using him like a cheap hooker, and he eventually abandons him for a period of the film. And what's weird about it is that in the book called Oil, the book focuses on the point of view of H.W., really rather than on Plainview's, just to get that right point of view of the story. And director Paul Thomas Anderson, who I consider to be an excellent director who uses Kubrick's method of directing wonderfully, and his resume of films is flawless, which I really like about him. Every scene that he sets up in the film, or every shot, is full of intensity, even from the beginning when Plainview is digging through the mines, to the eruption of the oil well that blows up into flames. And it gives him a lot more control when he's the writer of the film, or the screenwriter, which I thought did a very marvelous job at executing every other aspect of it. And the title may be misleading for some of you that may be expecting a horror film, but the music score to this is skin-crawling whenever it starts playing, and the cinematography is just so gorgeous that I'm glad that it hasn't been wasted on anything less. And here's something funny. There was going to be a soda parlor dedicated to this film that was going to be called There Will Be Milkshakes. Following Plainview's climatic speech with Sunday near the end, but for some reason it never became open or whatever. I don't know what happened with that business then. But anyways, in conclusion, There Will Be Blood is a masterpiece by Thomas Anderson, and I thought that he put a lot of heart and soul into it, thanks to the performance by Daniel Day-Lewis and his direction. In fact, it was said by Anderson himself is that if Daniel Day-Lewis didn't took the part of Daniel Plainview, the film would never have been made, and that's coming from his mouth. I thought There Will Be Blood was an excellent character study on people's greed and corruption, and gives a lot of insight on the old times of where the setting took place, and such other things. Overall, I say that There Will Be Blood is one of my favorite films ever made, in my top 20s of all time, and probably my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson films. This is definitely a film that you need to check out before you die. I give this my 5 full stars. Go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Now, on to the special features. And this is the 2-disc collector's edition, and even though it's still thinner than your average DVD case. But let's see what's on here. We have 15 minutes of Pix research of the making of There Will Be Blood, trailers, fishing sequence, Haircut Interrupted Him, Dailies Gone Wild, and the story of Petroleum, the first oil prospector back in the 1920s, or at least a short film about him, which is pretty interesting. So, there may not be much on the special features, but it's still worth a watch. So that's all for my review. Rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back later. Until then, this is Yuto Moses, signing out.